Uh, like 3 hours. I'm very tired. I need a nap. That's okay. It's game day. I better drink some caffeine and get ready to power through the earnings. Then, as soon as the car call ends, I'm going to sleep. Unless
Yep.
something exciting's announced, then we got to tweet about it after.
This space would probably love to hear you snore, Omar. Just the sound of your voice.
I just fall asleep halfway through talking. No, I mean I'm used to not sleeping much, so I think I'll be okay.
I'm good. I'm losing my voice a little, so I'll try not to talk too much because it sounds awful, I'm sure. But yeah, I was down for the count yesterday, but hopefully it's peaking today and I'll be back on my feet tomorrow.
I saw Omar. I think it was AJ. It seemed like they all were in agreement. I don't know where AJ's from though, so I like to see where they're from and how it's performing. But for the most part, it's very bullish, and everyone's excited. So I'm happy. AJ, I'll send the name.
No, it seems like a big leap forward. One thing that we did get clarification on from Elon last night was that this model does actually have the 5 times larger parameter count. So we're seeing what the impact of a big model is. And as predicted, it's a major uh, sort of step function improvement in sort of the driving personality. It's able to pick up a lot more things with that bigger model. Another interesting tidbit is that Elon says that the hardware 3 computer will be able to run this 5 times larger model. I had assumed that you would have to quantize a smaller version of the model to run on hardware 3, but he says it's going to be able to run the full 5 times larger parameter count at full size. So I heard so many people saying, "Oh, hardware 3's done. It's useless." Eh, wrong. Once again, we haven't even seen the full capabilities of hardware 3. He said that they need to do some optimization before they get it out. I would imagine that, I mean, we'll have to see how long it actually takes them, but I would imagine it probably wouldn't be more than a week or two out. I could even see it being released in the next few days. So it sounds like this isn't a hardware 4 model yet, which is to say it's not using the higher resolution cameras, it's not using the extra processing power of hardware 4. My guess is they sized this model to be kind of at the max of what hardware 3 can handle in terms of model size. So I think hardware 3 will be able to run this. I'm not sure when exactly they're going to release it. So far it's hardware 4 only, but I think we will see it go out to all the cars, and it hasn't been on Cybertruck yet. Elon said it's really only focused on the Model 3 and Y right now, but we should see it expand hopefully sooner rather than later. But it's Tesla. You never know with the rollouts how it's going to go, what's going to pop up. So we'll keep watching and see how the rollout progresses.
I do. I'm still on 12.3.6 though, but it's amazing. So I'm stoked for my update if I ever get it.
I hear you. I don't hear Scott.
Sorry, my connection cuts in and out. I was going to ask Omar. I saw that Elon posted that 12.5 will start off with Model Y, but you have a Model 3 new performance. So I was just kind of curious how you were able to get it, if it's focusing on Model Y, or maybe we don't know that answer.
Well, the Model Y and the Model 3 are essentially the same car. So there's not really much difference between them. One's a little bit bigger, but they are architecturally virtually identical.
Same computer ECU. What is that? The
Everything is the same.
Rizon. Yep. Back with one to grow on. Remember that?
Ozzy, can you hear me all right?
I can. I didn't have any problems with your speaking
Yeah,
before.
I think what happens is the people on the speaker board don't have problems, and then some people in the listening mode have problem when that happens. And usually, changing restarting helps. So let's see. Please let me know in the replies if this has helped.
I'm seeing thumbs up.
Okay, good. Let's see. So, by the way, I'm going to. So here's what we're going. Actually, let's just wait until people come up. All right, Scott, what were you saying? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard. I had asked about the how Omar had the 12.5, where Elon had mentioned that it was going to just Model Y V4 currently, and then he did reply to that, but I don't know how many people could hear me or not, because it was kind of glitchy for me as well. But following up to that, I am curious, and I don't know if we know that answer, as to how long it'll take before they expand that, to Cybertruck, to Model S users,
Well,
hardware for.
Ashok said it's going to take a few dot updates to get it to Cybertruck. So give it like a month or two. Sometime in Q3, I would guess it's going to come to the Cybertruck. And also, they're also going to introduce support for sunglasses, which should also be in the next couple of months here. And so you're going to be able to wear your sunglasses and still be able to use hands-free, no nags for steering wheel. And then one other thing that I thought was important to note is, I think it was Dirty Tesla who said there's less snags than the previous version. Omar, is that the case for you too?
I was hands free the whole time, so I wouldn't know.
No, like when you're hands free. Oh, really? Okay. So I guess he was saying that with sunglasses it was getting less snags. Is that the thing?
Right. I think that's what he was saying.
Okay, gotcha. And then you agree that Cybertruck support will probably be in the next couple of months here, next 2 months or so, sometime in Q3.
It should be coming anytime now. 12.5 does support the Cybertruck for the first time. So if you notice, a lot of the early access testers, their Cybertruck hasn't received the latest software update. They're on 2024.20.9, which is ready to upgrade to 24.20.10. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it hit the Cybertruck in the coming weeks.
Okay, good. Uzi.
I was curious if actually Smart Summon was part of 12.5, or if you
No.
have that yet.
No end-to-end on highways, no actually smart summon yet.
Okay, good. So Omar, you're going to the other space during earnings, right? What I'm going to do, I really need to grow this channel, and I need to correct course to make it sustainable, because otherwise it's just not going to survive. So I pinned at the top of our screens a request. Please go up, like, and repost. And then if you scroll right, that's the link to the YouTube channel. That's where I'm going to be analyzing the results as they come up. So if you want to hear that, you have to subscribe to the YouTube channel. This is free, and listen to that version of it. So we'll see how that goes. So at the top of our screens, please like and repost the request for Elon to reduce the monthly subscription price so that people can support this space. Okay, that really helps. Like right now, we have about 100 people who did that. We need more than 1,000 people to do it. Like not just like it, but like repost so your followers can see it, and that brings further attention to it. It really needs to get to like thousands of people doing this thing to get traction. Because if it's just 100 people, then there's no incentive for X to take action here. It has to be thousands of people. And we have thousands of people who listen to it. It needs to be thousands of people liking and reposting and requesting X to reduce the monthly subscription price. Uzi?
In order to make Tesla Live break even, would it make more sense for us to watch from YouTube?
Yeah, unfortunately, that is the case right now because X spaces are not monetized. Okay. If people watch from YouTube, then that helps with ad revenue. And once YouTube subscribers get to 100,000 level, then it will be sustainable. Sierra. Sierra. Okay. So that's that. All right. Omar, I've seen different versions, different expectations for Tesla energy margins tonight. Some people expect 30% plus gross margin. Some people expect, Troy put out his estimate. Troy agrees with James Catt and says he believes that there will be a decline in gross margin. What do you think?
Yeah, the revenue recognition of the energy business is not that straightforward. I think that we could see the revenue that's recognized in the quarter be about 50% to 2/3 of what the earnings are going to be from this quarter's deployment.
Man, whatever will go wrong, whatever can go wrong will go wrong is the name of the game. Yeah. Crazy. All right, it should work now. How about now?
I should give it a second because we're behind. I see like you on your screen.
All right. Omar, what'd you think of? Man, I don't want to put so much pressure on Omar when he is short on sleep.
No, I'm fine. Come on, it's game day. I'm ready.
Okay. What'd you think of short Tesla's and dirty Tesla's takes on this? 12.5.
Troy Tesla?
I mean, sorry, AI driver and dirty Tesla.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with them. Dirty Tesla's in rural Michigan. It's a very different environment than California. It does tend to have more challenges than California does. AI drivers in California. So, I agree with most of what they said. I think that for the highway driving, I was honestly surprised that it wasn't end to end because I was in the car, Black Model 3, Sam, they were all in the car with me. All of them agreed it was noticeably better on the highway. Zach even said, I took this exact same highway just earlier today, and this seems to be noticeably improved. So we said, wow, something's really changed here. Then Ashok replies and he goes, yeah, it's actually not end to end yet. So I was pretty surprised by that. But, I guess that means we're going to see an even bigger jump in a point release. My guess is maybe not everything. And yeah, I think they probably just wanted to get something out and say, okay, we need to replace 12.4. The end to end on the Ivan, that'll kind of be the way forward for to get it out there maybe before the year some people start testing it out. But seems like everyone agrees that it's just next level smooth.
Dallas.
Do you think there's any correlation to the fact that its earnings that 12.5 was released to early testers?
I mean, you can't speculate, but you can't prove that. And this does appear to be a different model. Like it's not like they just changed the number and pushed it out. It seems to be the next version, 5x more parameters. So, I mean, what do you think?
No, I'm not questioning the version. I've seen that it is a fully new version. I assume they sit on them until they're confident enough to push them out. But I was just curious as far as release timing being today is all.
Like, what do you want to say to that, though? Like, how can I possibly answer that question?
No, I was just curious on your thoughts.
Scott?
I was going to say, I told myself a couple days ago with earnings coming up, I would not be shocked if 12.5 would be released today. I thought it would have been sometime today, and then it came last night, and sure enough, it did. So I'm sure there are a lot of us that thought the same thing. So it's not surprising. I have no reason or understanding or knowing of why or when, but it did not surprise me at all.
Omar, what do you think Elon's going to say about Robotaxi unveil tonight? Do you think the event will be rescheduled or will be on at the same day or anything, or he's not even going to touch on it?
Yeah, sounds like it's going to be an October event. I think Bloomberg's reporting was accurate. And hopefully he'll give us a new date today on the call. I think he's going to say, this is a super revolutionary product, da da da, the usual. And we're going to unveil it. So I'd love to get a new date. I think this is going to be a super exciting product unveil, maybe the most exciting since the Model 3. And I can't wait to see it. I certainly think the software, from what we've seen, is going to wow people with the demos at the event if this is what we're already seeing today. And, we're 3 months out from the unveil.
Mishka. Dallas.
Omar, did you see as big of a step change from 12.3.6 to 12.4.3 as you did with the release of 12.5 from 12.4?
12.5 is a much bigger jump than 12.3 to 12.4. The 5 times larger model makes a big difference in the driving personality. I would say that 12.3 to 12.5 feels like almost as big of a jump as 11 to 12.
Didn't Elon say that the data center at Giga Texas was needed to train for hardware 4?
Yeah, so this isn't the hardware 4 model yet. It's still only trading on hardware 3 resolution images, and it's a bigger model, but it's still a hardware 3 model. So this is kind of like the biggest model that hardware 3 can handle. And then going forward with the new data center opening, they'll begin training a hardware 4 model, which should be another leap in performance compared to this. With the hardware 4 specific model, they could possibly train an even bigger model with even more parameters that can't run on hardware 3. My guess is the 5x bigger was chosen as sort of fitting within the limits of hardware 3.
What do you think is the miles per intervention going to be like for this 12.5?
It's too early to say for sure with just a few hours of driving, and that too at night. Really got to get into the day and try some with traffic to really get an idea. But given that FSD 12.4 was able to drive for hours in Los Angeles without an intervention consistently, and the fact that I drove for 4 or 5 hours yesterday on FSD without a single takeover, without a single intervention. I mean, I think I pushed the accelerator once on the highway when it was like slowing down a little bit to get out of the carpool lane. But it just did everything correctly. So, I would probably, if I just had to take a random guess, I'd say they've well surpassed 1,000 miles between critical interventions.
Okay, so this space has been going on for about half hour, and we have quite a few people in the space now. I need every single person in the space to go up to the tweet at the top, go to the nest, look at that tweet, like and repost. And until reposts reach 200, we're going to stay muted.
This should be the ad.
We're at 135. We have 60. We need 65 more people to like and repost the tweet at the top.
This should be the ad package you sell. No more talking until everyone retweets. You can sell that to sponsors.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Actually, I think Joa is considering sponsoring the. So the sponsorship is going to be. I mean, if they don't fix the subscriptions, I guess until they fix the subscriptions. The subscription amount right now is about $240 a month. And the reason for that is because I was literally, like when I first signed up for this about more than a year ago, I was literally trying to discourage people from subscribing because I wanted to be free, like completely free and open for everybody. And somebody told me that if I just open the subs, and that would increase ad revenue share. That would bring more exposure, increase ad revenue share, which would support the space without making people costly to enter the space. So I did. And to discourage people, I picked the maximum amount possible. And now I can't change it because X doesn't allow changing it. I guess because they don't want people increasing the subscriptions. Once people sign up and give their credit card information and everything, which I understand, but I'm trying to lower it. And they don't even allow that. So now what I'm trying to do is either get sponsors. So I'm saying sign up for it and do it via web. So Apple doesn't take a 30% cut. Sign up for it and I'll read a 30-second, 60-second ad one times like daily, one time a day for the month, which is one time a week, sorry. So 4 times a month. And that's a really good return on investment, I think, like compared to other options of audio ads, way cheaper than that. So I think Joe is considering it. I have a couple other people like Unplugged Performance maybe can do it, and a couple others considering it. But if they change it to $5 a month, then I can get people subscribing to support the space, which I think will help. But that's TBD. So, but I really need people to like and repost the message at the top so that we can get some track. Like we need to prove to them that people want it to happen. Okay. And this is my way of like this is the best way I can think. It's just if you just like and subscribe, then maybe they'll change it. So we have 153 reposts right now. We need 47 more reposts.
Yeah, Joa did mention to me in the past that they were interested in sponsoring your space. And I booked a sponsorship this morning for $1,000. I'll be sponsoring Tesla Live. If you want to get the word out about your product or service to other people in the Tesla community, you can Cash App Yaman and we will read out whatever your product or service is in the space.
Yeah. So what do you want me to read out, Omar, for the $1,000 a month?
Well, $1,000 a week can't be $1,000 a month. You got to set your prices right. But we'll do that next week. We'll leave it for next week after we prepare.
Okay. All right. So right now we have 160 reposts. Thank you very much for the 60 people who started doing it after we announced, and we're going to remain muted until we reach 200. $175. We need 25 more people to like and repost the message at the top. $20. It's like a countdown. It's like SpaceX launch countdown almost. We literally need 5 more. 5 more people.
Was trying to get it before the song ended, but
Yeah, good try. Thank you very much. Which is what's really surprising. Like one thing that's surprising right now, everybody stayed. Maybe even like literally talk about this for the last 5 minutes. Man, we do not lack creativity, that's for sure. Trying to get this thing off the ground. All right. 3 more. We need 3 more reposts. And then all right, 200. Congratulations, everybody. Group effort, team effort. I really appreciated. This is very meaningful. We now have 200 reposts, 342 likes, and 37,000 views on this request to Elon Musk to please lower my subscription price.
The YouTube chat's going crazy right now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's crazy. Uzi, thank you very much.
That was very entertaining.
It was. All right. So we have 2 hours left until the earnings release. Tesla stock is down 2% right now. I think the implied price change in the option pricing is about 9% for tomorrow. I guess we shall see. No clue. Go ahead.
Hey, there's some speculation that for the 5x parameter model to run on hardware 3, that it will require the GPU to essentially be deleted. And I was just curious to what the GPU is actually doing and why that won't be
mean the
needed anymore.
CPU?
Or CPU,
Omar?
sorry.
Yeah, Omar?
The CPU deleted? Huh? It's gonna run on hardware 3. Okay. Don't worry about it. They just wanted to get it out there before the earnings. They're gonna release it for hardware 3 as well.
Mishka.
To add on to that, to add on to Omar, they did say that they are going to release it for hardware 3 when they reduce the size of the Elon's already like posted it when they reduce the size of that. And then Omar, I wanted to ask you this. Obviously with like the development of 12.5 and so on, what do you think the advancements are going to be with future versions? Do you think there's a chance that future versions will too be able to be downscaled to hardware 3, or do you think it'll be much more exclusive to just hardware 4, probably from here on out? Because I'm hoping that hardware 3 vehicles are supported too, but what's your thought?
Hardware 3 is going to be able to run this 5 times larger model at full size, according to Elon. So any future hardware 4 model that they train, for example, at the Texas data center, which might be even larger, that's a different story. For now, this is still a hardware 3 model. It's trained using hardware 3 data. We haven't touched the higher camera resolution. And I believe that they probably tried to pick a model size that could just barely fit within the resource profile of hardware 3. So I'd be very surprised to see hardware 3 running an even bigger model than this. This is probably just about as big as it's going to get. But this will run on hardware 3 and not a quantized version, not a smaller version of the model. The full raw model, same as hardware 4, is going to run on hardware 3 as well.
Machine.
I agree with Omar. For the first time, he didn't say anything ridiculous. We all could see from the big picture now that this is the second time Elon's talked about the limitations of hardware 3. We all see the same thing. Hardware 3 is reaching its limit, and now they're going to extents of cutting out the CPU. which they, by the way, someone asked, what are they doing with that? It's
What are you talking
the
about?
CPU is being
How
used.
are you going to cut the CPU out? What does that even mean?
Why don't you ask your buddy Meta? If you haven't get it right.
Machine, are you holding scissors, going to your hardware to trying to cut the CPU out?
Listen. Ask Meta. Meta's obsessed. He's telling me, look, they're going to remove the CPU. It's going to increase the processing speed. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but maybe they are. All I know is they're going to great extents to get this to work on hardware 3. And I agree with Omar that it will work on hardware 3. But the bigger picture is...
Oh, really? Do you, Machine?
I do agree.
Not too long ago, you were telling us that hardware 3 was done. It wasn't going to run this model. And people have just said over and over, oh, hardware 3, it's never going to do anything. This thing just keeps on kicking. It's still running the latest model. I mean, you got to give them credit. They're really supporting this thing for years and years. And I think it'll probably be many more years that hardware 3 continues receiving updates.
This guy, I think everyone's moved on to Kamala Harris, but I think we have the best politician right here in the space. Just notice the nuance.
It's just a fact. You said hardware 3 would not work. Elon says it's going to run the full-size model, not even a smaller version.
Like, he could go debate anyone with his nuanced, subtle diversion of wording. And he's creating these very subtle straw man arguments that I did not say. I did not say that hardware 3 would not be able to support 12.5. I said
these spaces are recorded,
and then
right?
he keeps go look back at the recordings, okay? This guy's like Donald Trump, interrupting me left and right. Where is the host with the mute button? That's what I want to know.
Omar for president.
And let's go back to what I said. What I said is that this is an indication that hardware 3 is getting to its limits, and therefore, because it still needs a 100x improvement in reliability, which will undoubtedly require an even a larger model, that hardware 3 will not be able to support that in the future. And Omar, to his point, his subtlety, does not even disagree with that. He just said that hardware 3 would continue to get updates in the future. He didn't say it would get this higher reliability model. So, he's keeping his mask, his political mask. Go talk to Gavin Newsom. Go eat at the French Laundry. And, maybe in 4 years, we'll see you up debating, I don't know, who are you going to debate? Maybe JD Vance.
Meet Kevin. Machine, do you expect 12.5 to lead to a big increase, material increase in take rates?
If it's as good as Elon claims in terms of the increase in miles per disengagement, and Omar, of course, I joined the space last night. I heard him immediately 1 minute into his drive, just like, oh my god, this is so different. So we can't trust this source, but if it does,
and I was right. It was the 5 times larger parameter count, and I could tell right away. And the other people I picked up could tell right away too.
Yeah,
and you would be able to tell right away if you weren't running hardware 2.5.
I do think it would increase the take rate materially. I don't know, 20% maybe. If it's that good, I believe it will.
Yeah, Zach, who's been pretty critical of FSD over the years, said everybody needs to subscribe for $99 a month to get this version. And this is the first time I'm saying this.
Machine.
Yeah, I may have to drop off. There's another space that's about trying to have a civil conversation between pro-Palestinians and pro-Israelis. That seems like a really fruitful thing that might generate a solution.
Hawaii.
I just want to stay on subject here, and then our election between Omar and Machine. Machine has like not even 3,000 followers, and Omar has about 500,000.
Yeah, Machine, what do you think about that?
You know, oftentimes in American politics, an underdog comes out of nowhere and roots from the ground a following of people who understand that we don't follow the money, the corruption that goes round and round, these people being paid off to say things that people want to hear. The true people of America realize that these people are only in it for themselves, and they need a candidate who supports their true desires and make the change to improve their lives. And that person may have less than 3,000 followers right now, but in a year and 2 years from now, they will grow to 1 million followers, even without premium access.
Wow. Watch out, Kamala. Machine should be the Democratic nominee. That was a pretty good speech.
Mishka.
With the current improvements on 12.5, do you think that free FSD has a chance of coming out after the entirety of 12.5 releases? Because it seems like when they did the free V12, it seemed like a really, really good spot. But obviously some people still had some doubts about FSD at that point. And from what I'm seeing, 12.5 seems to be at a really, really good point where parameters are increased. Do you think free full self-driving free trial is good?
Omar, what do you think?
Yeah. Don't listen to me, okay? Just try it. It's like magic, okay? This thing drives like a professional chauffeur. Interventions are to a point where it can drive hours without you doing anything. Interventions are getting beyond human perception. So humans can't tell the difference between something that can drive without interventions for 4 hours and 16 hours, right? We then have to really rely on data because for humans, it'll just seem like it's always working and interventions are very rare. So, the combination of hands-free combined with the driving performance of this bigger model is just wow. This is coming from someone who's used Waymo, used Cruise, used everything. This is the smoothest, most human-like self-driving system in the world, and it works anywhere. So, don't listen to me, don't listen to AI driver, don't listen to dirty Tesla. Hopefully everyone gets it on their car soon and they can just see for themselves. This is another V11 to V12 type improvement.
Just going in theme with Scott's Jeopardy music. This person isn't a devil's advocate. He is the devil himself. Who is Machine?
I would just like to say, I think this is the most insightful thing Omar has ever said on one of your spaces that everyone should take home when he said, quote, "Don't listen to me."
And I was going to go to Santa Barbara and do a ride with Machine and Dan O'Dowd, which would be, I think, a great video with 12.5. And Machine said, I can't go to Santa Barbara. And I said, why? I guess his wife won't let him or something. But yeah, I guess, it would have been a great video, I think. Me, Machine, and Dan O'Dowd. You've got the FSD Bull, the FSD Bear, and Machine who kind of sits on the fence. I think it'd be a pretty entertaining video. So maybe you guys can convince him to come to Santa Barbara with me.
Yeah, why haven't you gone?
Unlike Omar, who successfully, makes money off of his social media presence, you're a failure. You can't even get your subscription rate right. I don't make money off of social media. I actually have to work and have kids. Both of you don't have kids. It's a whole different life. You guys live in an alternate reality.
Yeah.
Bring your kids to
But
Santa
you know
Barbara.
what?
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
bring the
Family
kids along.
vacation. You
Yeah,
can take them to Green Hill Software.
Yeah.
Hey kids, you want to go see Green Hill Software?
We actually have Matt Smith in the audience who has like 27 kids. If he wants to come up and tell us about Tesla energy gross margins, that would be cool. Luke,
He did that before Elon told everyone to have more kids. So now think about how many kids he's going to have.
Yeah. Luce.
So this might be a stupid question, but Why is that faster charging station charge more for kilowatt hour? Is it normal?
The costs of fast charging are much higher than slow charging. Utilities sometimes have demand charges when you have a huge amount of power coming through at once, as opposed to spread over a wider period of time. The power electronics needed for fast charging are also more expensive. And also, the pricing needs to be set higher to convince people to charge at home at the slower charger rather than using fast charging so that supercharger stalls are open for people who need them.
Dallas, Mishka, and then Matt Smith.
So, Omar, in your experience with 12.5, and it sounds like it's been really good, has that extended into parking lots to the point to where you're confident that this version could run the long-promised smart summon feature?
Yeah, it's very good in parking lots. Employees have been testing actually Smart Summon since 12.3. I expect it to be released with 12.6. And, obviously I've just tested it in the evening. So it's been limited testing so far. Today I'll start testing it during the daytime, during traffic, and maybe get a better picture of how it's really performing. When I got 12.4, it was really great at night, but then when I tried it during the day, the performance was significantly worse. So we'll see how it goes today.
Mishka.
Going a little bit to like the current quarter performance, with the current like advancements in energy deployment and all that, and obviously with ongoing development of 4860 battery or 4680 battery cells, like what is everybody's opinion on like the balance of revenue and like the strategic focus shifting like from the automotive sales to possibly more of energy and
Thank you.
autonomous?
Matt, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you doing?
Oh, it's a little echoey. Your voice is coming a little echoey. Are you in the closet?
I'm not in a closet.
Are you in the bathroom?
I'm in a well. I'm trying a new thing.
Okay. Sometimes machine gets in the closet and then speaks and kind of sounded like that. Matt, what do you expect for Tesla Energy? We have divergent views. Some people expect gross margin to decline, like James Cat and Cortez. Like most people in this space, I think, expect Tesla Energy gross margin to increase. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm definitely in the increasing camp. I think over time, there will be some more downward pressure, especially with these new lower prices that were just introduced. I mean, that was a roughly 40% decrease in price relative to what was in place just a couple of months ago. So I think that's going to create some downward pressure. Eventually, you do have lower lithium price, which is a pass-through also. So some of that, there should be some downward price pressure. But I think overall what we've seen is energy gross margins increasing as the throughput in Lathrop has increased, as Megapack deployments have increased. There's better kind of fixed cost absorption. And so I think it stands to reason that we'll see a modest increase in margin this quarter. I think I'm projecting like a 27% gross margin on the energy side.
Thank you. What percent capacity do you think Lathrop is running today?
It's hard to tell with an exact number. It might be interesting to get Bradford up here because he was actually staking the Lathrop factory, and so he may be able to provide some insight. But I think they were talking about getting to the 40 gigawatt hour run rate by the end of this year. I don't think they're all of a sudden at that run rate right now. I mean, if you would just take the 9.4 gigawatt hours that they deployed in Q2 and extrapolate that, then that would imply that they're basically at that run rate. I don't think that's the case. I think most likely they had something similar to inventory of these mega packs that were manufactured but not yet counted as deployed. I would guess they're maybe running at something like 30, 35 gigawatt hours annualized, maybe not quite 35 even, but I suspect we'll get real close to 40 by the end of the year.
All right, Machine, what do you think about all that? Gross margin, he expects increase to 27%. Where are you on that? And also percent of capacity for Lathrop, maybe close to full by the end of this year.
I mean, I think I generally trust Matt. I mean, this guy's got a lot on the line. He's got a lot of mouths to feed. so he wouldn't say anything crazy, unlike the rest of you. I am interested to understand where we think Tesla is with their production rate, that you think it's closer to 30, 35. I don't doubt if there's evidence. I know, Bradford used to go hide in Lathrop, which is a very, very boring place to track them. And I don't know if we've had any insight on upped production capacity. Like, did you travel with your kids, Matt? Did you get a big tent and have them all track? You could, the small ones, you could probably throw them over the fence and they can go count how many are there. Did you try that?
Well, they don't all know how to count yet, so that's the flaw with that one, with that bit of logic. But no, so we haven't been out there. I visited Lathrop briefly, but I didn't do the 1 week plus of staking like Bradford did. I think the evidence of ramping is just on the increase in deployments. They were very flatlined at around 4 gigawatt hours for several quarters in a row. And the fact that they were able to get that up to 9.4, and they'd already previously said that they're going to try to get to full capacity by the end of this year. So it just seems logical to me that they'd be kind of going from, I think it was like 24 gigawatt hour run rate last time Bradford checked in. So, I mean, if they were already over halfway of kind of nameplate capacity, then kind of stands to reason that they should be more like 75% now. And I've got to run for a meeting in like 2 minutes, so I'm going to drop off here shortly.
So, thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. Omar?
When they say energy storage deployed, what does that really mean from the revenue recognition perspective? Are they, recognizing 100% of the revenue, 50% of the revenue at that point? Like, where does it correspond in terms of the revenue recognition milestones? Are we really seeing that energy storage deployment be a little lumpy just because of permitting and other factors, where maybe Lathrop actually had more output, but it doesn't get counted as deployed until, all the permitting and utility stuff is all figured out?
Yeah, so it's definitely not 100% of revenue that would be recognized when it's deployed. They don't give us a handy table that we can just go and say, oh, at this milestone, it's 25% recognized. And then once you get it delivered on site, it's another 25%. And when it's energized, you get another 30%. And when you hit commercial operations, then you're at fully 100%. So they don't give us that kind of detailed breakdown. What we do know about the process is it can take sometimes like around 18 months or so to kind of go from manufactured to deployed to energized and tested to actually commercial operations being commenced. So there is this kind of lag in revenue recognition for that reason. So I would suspect that maybe deployments is probably like the biggest milestone of all of them. Maybe commercial operations, which is the very last one, could be another contender for the biggest. But my sense is maybe deployed would be 30% or so of the revenues that are being recognized, or of the total project's revenue might be 30% of that revenue could be recognized when it's deployed. So that's my kind of estimate, but I do have to hop off now.
Thank you, Matt. Machine, any final words before today's earnings? Let's see. Let me ask you this way. What are 3 things you're going to be looking for at first when the earnings are released and the investor presentation comes up?
Automotive margins, 4680 progress, and energy in general production rate or projections for next year will be the 3. And just to add, I just showed up. Someone bought me a subscription to X. How do I reject this?
Ha ha. Blue check mark Elon Stan.
I mean, you need it, man. The blue check mark actually helps a lot. And if ad revenue share will pay for it. So why do you want to reject it? Don't reject it. Just accept your fate.
I guess I'll accept that. I'm going to thank Streebor90. Streebor90 has donated me a year subscription. So thank you, and I will pay you back through my sarcasm.
Great. So you said automotive gross margin. You said 4680 progress and energy progress, right?
Yeah, progress and projections for like
Energy projections. Okay. I mean, they did say they're building Giga Shanghai Megapack factory. And so are you looking for a third announcement, a third factory, something along those lines?
I would just like to know where they're at with Lathrop, as we're conjecturing right now, an actual production rate. When is it going to be fully, at capacity?
Yeah, I think the last we heard about that was they're going to start bringing the second line. So that's going to take about a couple of quarters to ramp, right? So maybe early next year, we'll get to 40 gigawatt hour annual run rates, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. So Matt was thinking that it's already kind of happening now. I think that's I think it's premature. But so
No,
there's
he said that he agreed with you. He just said by the end of this year.
Oh, okay.
Don't change his words in his absence. That's ridiculous. This is why you need me to keep you honest, because every other word that comes out of your mouth is a falsehood. So right now, the tweet at the top has 215 reposts. We're going to be on mute until that gets to 300. We need 85 people to repost the tweet at the top so that Elon sees it, because clearly he hasn't seen it so far, because why would he otherwise not reduce it, right? That's the thinking. It is frustrating. Omar, what are the 3 things that you're going to be looking for when it first comes out? Come on, the one of them is yeah, exactly.
FSD miles. Got to update my site. Obviously just net income and cash flow, and other basic financial metrics, and then any additional info on FSD. I think if they disclose the number of FSD users, and we saw some growth from the previously disclosed 400,000 level. I mean, they cut the price to $99. That's got to be worth something, right? Maybe not as much as when 12.5 gets out, but if they did disclose the number of users and we saw even a little bit of growth there, even 10% growth, let's say, I would see that as very positive. The other business, energy, auto business, that's all great. But to me as an investor, it's kind of, neither here nor there. As long as the sky's not falling in the auto and energy business, I'm happy. And those businesses seem to be doing just fine. The focus for me is really on FSD. I think they've got a really game-changing product here. Any metrics on miles, users, when are we going to get this rolled out internationally? When is Europe going to get this? When is China going to get this? When is Australia going to get this? When is New Zealand going to get this? Norway, the Cybercab event doesn't seem like it's going to be on 8.8. Any info on that? The photos in the deck are always good as well. So I'll be really. I always scroll down to those too. They usually have some cool photos at the end of the deck.
So nobody said anything about Optimus, right? Machine didn't say anything about Optimus. Omar didn't say anything about Optimus. Sierra, what are the 3 things they're going to be looking for when the earnings deck comes out? Uzi, how about you?
I agreed with a lot of what Machine was saying. I think I just changed. I'm forgetting his last one, but I changed it to energy gross margins. I think he was saying guidance for next year with energy.
Yeah. I think that we might hear something about Optimus. I think, for me, Optimus is the biggest thing right now.
For Optimus, I think it'll be like, I think, going from our past discussion yesterday, it'd be a couple thousand next year. I also asked the Humanoid Hub. He said he agreed with our thinking. A couple thousand next year. The year after, then maybe tens of thousands, scaling up production. But it won't be like, I don't think they'll guide on that heavily.
Omar, someone in the replies asks, Tesla Doctor asks, why do auto margins matter? It's going to be the smallest part of the company soon. Do you agree with that second part, that it's going to be the smallest part of the company soon?
Well, it depends on your definition of soon, So nobody knows what's going to happen in the future. People who are evaluating the business are looking at what is on paper today, right? Everything else is, oh, we're going to have all these robots and sure, okay. What is the business actually doing today? If the core business is a disaster, right? Let's say they're losing money in the core auto business. Well, then how is Optimus going to happen if the business might not exist, right? So the business needs to be doing okay and producing sufficient cash flow for the next stages of their master plan to actually happen. So it is relevant as much as, we kind of don't care as much about it in terms of what we talk about. It's far more relevant than any of the future stuff for Wall Street.
Let me ask you this. What would lead to a more than 10% increase in the stock price through the rest of this week? And then what will lead to a more than 10% drop in the stock price through the rest of the week?
Well, I think that we've seen a lot of energy in the stock. Not that long ago, it was trading at 270. I think that people are probably waiting for this earnings. There's some uncertainty around that, around the captive financing, for example, and what that might cost. I think once it's over, a lot of people are going to want to get into this as an AI play, sort of the most undervalued AI play. And I think it's probably heading to 300 if Elon doesn't say anything too scary. Like, for example, if he said, we're not going to do the more affordable vehicles anymore, or, oh, we couldn't really figure out how to make the Robotaxi, so we're going to give up on that, or something like that, then, maybe that could cause a 10% decline. Or, maybe if he, you know, just said something that indicated weakness in the business. But as long as he sounds positive, he talks about FSD, Optimus, everything that's going on, he talks about the core business improving, then it'll probably be an event that a lot of people are just waiting to get through to start buying more shares. One more piece of information I did want to share related to the earnings is Gary Black shared in a subscriber only post that he had asked Tesla investor relations about the accounting of the subvented loans for consumers. And he said that the present value of the discounted loan rate is accounted for upfront at the time of sale. So a $5,000 inventory discount versus a $5,000 interest rate discount in the subvented loan is going to be accounted for exactly the same. So I would probably expect that the margin profile would be similar to the previous quarter, um, possibly a little better, given that they could finally control where those discounts were applied, as opposed to the inventory discount, which kind of changes people's perception of what the price should be. So this is kind of the big mystery, right? It has the potential to be responsible for a beat or a miss, is this sort of subvented loan offering. But, I'm optimistic that it could be a positive surprise, that they are able to control it more, and that it really isn't that much more of an impact than the inventory discounts we saw in the previous quarter.
Thank you, Uzi.
Yeah, I think Tesla's a bit of an ink blot test. You might see it as a automotive company or the largest real world AI play. And so I think with what Omar was saying about the 25K car, I think a lot of the street does view it as an automotive company in terms of the revenue it's bringing in. So if Elon walks that back, then I would see the greatest reaction to that news. Whereas Robotaxi, I think they understand that's less in control, but it has more potential.
Matt Sanko on YouTube live chat says Control F Dojo. So find Dojo in the earnings release. I'm gonna actually jot this down. So I'm taking down what people say. I have 6 items: FSD miles, energy production forecast, energy margins, automotive margins, Optimus, and Dojo are the things I'm going to be looking for when the earnings deck comes out. And the link to the YouTube video where I'm going to be analyzing the results is at the top of your screens. There won't be a Tesla Live space during the earnings release. I'm trying to grow the YouTube channel so that this space can become financially sustainable. So if you'd like to join me during the earnings analysis, the link is at the top of your screens. All right. And then somebody in the replies said, let's see, will there be a reveal of the next master plan, Omar, tonight?
I wouldn't expect that.
Do you think master plan part 4 is in the back burner?
Seems like he's working on master plan part Trump right now. I don't know. But I mean, he did say he was working on it, but we haven't heard anything about it since. So I don't know when they would share details about that.
All right. Any final words? Uzi, any final words? Any final questions? Please request to speak. Let's start with you, Uzi.
I'm just looking forward to earnings. I mean, I don't think Optimus will really be brought up in a material manner, but it's more, here's where we're going with it. And I think in 2 years, that will be the big revenue driver.
Hawaii.
Elon yesterday on the his interview with Peterson was speaking about using XAI information in conjunction with the downloads from our cars with Tesla. How does that work with a private company dealing with a publicly traded company?
Omar, what do you think?
Well, I think he said that they hadn't started using any of that data yet, but XAI could possibly pay Tesla, or they could make some type of an agreement where they said, okay, you get Grok, we share some of this. And there could be a benefit to Tesla, right? I mean, if you take a look at the Grok Vision post, they actually have some driving examples that they showed. And they show how they ask Grok, hey, okay, do we have enough space to go around this car? And Grok's able to answer that. So I think an LLM is actually going to be a key piece of the self-driving car, both in terms of talking to the user, but also understanding what you're seeing with that background context of the world. So there may actually be benefits of a collaboration where, Tesla is able to help them, but then Tesla's actually able to get a model that they can use in their car to be a core part of the self-driving system. And guess what? They get to save $6 billion that they didn't have to spend on H100s and everything else. So seems like a pretty good deal for us shareholders.
Dallas.
Like I'm sure a few others saw some calls for Omar to interview Elon after watching the Jordan Peterson interview. Omar, is that something you're willing to do, in talks doing? I mean, just something FSD centric would be really cool.
Interview Elon? I mean, I'm always happy to interview Elon. I did interview him once before. He's been on Spaces with us a few times. I mean, I like to think I would do a better job than Jordan Peterson. I wouldn't interrupt him and, just say a bunch of bullshit. Like, he's saying like this really personal stuff about his child and this really, trying experience he went through. And Jordan Peterson's just going, yeah, huh, what? Yeah, it's It's like, dude, be quiet for a second, okay? Um, I know some people are fans of his, but I think most of us were obviously coming to listen to Elon, and he was kind of getting interrupted a lot. So that wasn't that great, but we did get some interesting pieces of information from the interview, such as about the XAI data center, which was one of the largest training clusters ever assembled. So, um, yeah, I mean, obviously, I'd love to have him anytime. I mean, hey, maybe he should come into Tesla Live. We'd bring him in, and
I'm not holding
I'm
my
sure we,
breath. I'm not.
I'm
No, I
sure we'd
will
have some great questions for him.
when my subscriptions are fixed, I will have some hope, but it's not gonna happen. It's not.
I mean,
It would
he
have
would bring
happened by
Tesla
now.
live.
It's literally like one text message. So if it hasn't happened just now until now, it's probably not gonna happen.
We could barely have 500 people here. I don't think Elon would allow this space to work properly with all the glitches too.
I don't know. I need to focus on what I need to do. All right, we're gonna end it here. I'll be back on YouTube at 3:30 in about an hour. I'm gonna go through a couple of posts from James Katz from Troy Tesla. Look through their earnings forecast. We're gonna talk about a couple of things before the earnings come out, and we're gonna wait for the earnings to come out. And I'm gonna read through the earnings deck and sift through what's material, what's immaterial, and then we're gonna go through the earnings call as well. And that's gonna be on YouTube. The link is at the top of your screens. Hopefully we can grow both together, both X and YouTube, because one or the other is not going to be enough. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Good luck to everybody. Omar, any final words?
Well, I hope the earnings are good.
I hope the earnings are good. Thank you very much, and I will chat with you guys. See you on the flip side.